All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to Break the Record Live. We are currently watching Nax here.
Good start.
It's a great start, I know, right? There you go. Get the name wrong, bam, done. But we're watching Nax here run his way through Sen's Fortress here. Of course, Break the Record Live is a 3-day event where we are watching the 7 top runners of the Dark Souls Remastered all bosses category compete for their share of a $5,000 prize pool generously given to us by our sponsor Kaspersky. Of course, right now the rest of the runners are currently done for the night. We're coming towards the end of day 1 here. I do have our community casters here. We have got Ben and we've got Wriggle as well. How are you both doing? Other than
I'm doing great.
Had to be done.
I'm doing great. I hope you guys are all doing great. Everybody in chat.
I am doing great now. Regal is here.
Yeah. It's good to be casting with Ben. I think we have a bunch of shifts together, so.
That's
it'll
perfect.
be
Just
a
the way
fun weekend. Yeah, it'll be a fun weekend.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing during the little ad break there. One thing that we did, that we would have seen. Unfortunately, Nax having a little bit of trouble in the fortress trying to get through the wall with the snake enemy. Just not busting the wall, not doing the attack that he needed. But that's where this time loss is coming from at the moment.
A good thing to look at for the Iron Golem split is you want to at least be sub 14 for a good pace. I don't think Nax needs that for a PB, but for like being on record pace, sub 14 is usually what you want to shoot for this quit out for Golem in this route.
And it would have been on that as well if it wasn't for that bad split. Like he would have been around like 13:59 quit out.
What happened? Did he mess up on the Logan wall break?
Yeah, so the wall just the snake wasn't attacking the wall. Didn't go for the other strat, so it's like, well, thanks enemy.
Yeah, that wall break is really, really annoying. I tried to do it in Prepare to Die Edition. It doesn't work in Prepare to Die Edition, but the same concept you can at least attempt, where you jump off the cage. It's so finicky and easy to fall off while you're just trying to do that jump. That's probably what happened. And then you have to use the snake as a backup, and then that could be terrible to totally fine if you have to use the snake.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the new strat, but I imagine because you're dropping down from the ledge above, like you only really get one shot at it. So if you load back in,
well,
like,
if you touch stable ground after falling off, it's over with. You just
because your position gets set there.
Yeah,
whereas it wouldn't usually. Yeah,
I mean, you could run back up, but it wouldn't be worth it really.
Yeah.
Because like what you're trying to do is you're trying to drop from stable ground onto unstable ground, which is the cage, and then you're trying to jump from that piece of unstable ground to the unstable ground in front of the wall.
Yeah.
And if you hit any stable ground in between that, it's over. You just have to use the snake.
The simple idea is like all the unstable ground, the game doesn't store your position, so you're able to like if you were to quit out, you would get put back up. Whereas as soon as you hit stable ground, then you'll get put in that position where you were.
Yeah, well, but it's weird, like the way the skip works, because you're going from unstable to unstable, but it somehow still spawns you back in on unstable ground because there's a little bit of unstable ground in front of that wall. Otherwise, you could just walk up to it and quit out, and it would work. Yeah. Which there's like a way that you basically like overflow the buffer of your stored position by going from one piece of unstable ground to another, and it just lets you respawn there and break the wall. It's kind of weird. But if that
transitioned into ESA's Break the Wall Live.
Yeah,
that's what this stream is like.
It's cool, and it just eliminates that really annoying piece of RNG. But you have to execute it properly, and that's the tricky part. Speaking of tricky parts, we got the probably the worst boss fight in the run. So
please no lightning. Please no lightning.
Yeah, hopefully Nax doesn't get any memes with Ornstein. It's a good start.
Yeah, the lunge is pretty optimal because it means you can nuke.
Nice.
Nuke
That's
on Steam straight away.
Great.
That's really good. Really good opener. But it's not over yet because Smo can control you in a magic route.
Definitely not as trolly as Ornstein can be, but
yeah. I don't remember how many openings you can get from Ornstein, but there's quite a few, and a lot of them are really annoying.
3 major ones, at least, like what he starts off with.
Yeah. Because I remember there's, I don't know if these are all the 3, maybe there's like a minor one that I'm thinking of, but you can get like the lightning, you can get the lunge, and then you can get the one where he just slowly walks towards you, and that is just horrific.
So that's the most frightening one, because you're like, what is he going to do next? I need to react, and then you just can't.
That's also like when he does the jog opening, he also can do 3 different types of attacks out of that jog opening. As well.
It just becomes like a big web of nonsense, basically.
The lightning opening, it can be fast, but it is the most random of the different openings. So you are very likely to get extremely bad fight with lightning, but sometimes you get lucky and the lightning fight is really fast.
Yeah.
But you're pretty much guaranteed to lose time on the jog opening. And I know it's like a little bit weird to do it with magic as well. ONS in general in a magic route is just super annoying. Like if you fight them in Prepare to Die edition, you'll be using melee with a move swap weapon, and you can stagger them in one attack. It doesn't remove like skill from the fight, but it removes a lot of randomness. From the fight.
It's such a blessing to just be able to infinitely stunlock Smo in the second phase.
Yeah.
Like if you do it right, it's completely consistent. Like,
Smo is like a joke in move swap routes usually. Ornstein, like the first phase can still be like a huge pain, but it's a lot more skill-based things that you can control in a Prepare to Die edition, or even just like any percent in the remaster. Melee fights in general on ONS are a whole lot easier to control. But with magic, it's a lot of just, well, I hope he doesn't jump away 10 times and I lose like 40 seconds because of stuff out of my control.
Like the biggest thing in the opening is you really want to get them isolated from each other so you can focus on one. But as Rigo was mentioning, like if you get the jogging opening where he's just chilling right next to Smo, and they're both just looking at you, and you're just like, well, I guess I'll just stand here.
And then you get some like super bad RNG, and they just get grouped up, and they just are like right on top of each other like the whole time. Like it's terrible.
There's no way to deal with that fight that isn't either stupidly slow or involving death. It's over at that point.
That is a lot of what it becomes at a high level for ONS. It's just you just have to YOLO and hope that you survive. Depending on like what they do. Like if they give you some good pattern, like it's one thing, but they give you some bad pattern, you're just like, well, I'm gonna have to go for it and hope I don't die.
Yeah, and it creates like a snowball effect as well, because I assume it's the same in the remaster. I mean, I've never tested it, but there are like elevator cycles that you need to hit, and if I remember correctly, like the law is that there's different elevators, and they have different like sizes, because one is that one's for Ornstein and one's for Smo. And one of them actually moves up quicker than the other. So ideally, you want to be right on time for the quick elevator, which I assume is Ornstein's. So if you do lose time and you get a bad pattern, and then you miss the elevator, it actually creates a snowball effect, so you lose even more time after the fight. So yeah, like those are the worst, where you lose
missing
time in
the elevator,
you lose time out.
Yeah, missing the elevator is like about 8-second time loss, so that's pretty bad.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's something so trivial and you just drop 8 seconds just like that, on top of like the 30 that you might lose in the fight, it just gets worse and worse. Yeah,
you're like, well, I got past the fight, but I missed the elevator, so like this run just feels awful already.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is a long run, so things like that, as just an example, won't kill your run.
Yeah, but it's just, as we were talking about like the mental game earlier, like if you get a bad ONS, it's just setting you up to be tilted, and it's worse and worse. But this run is honestly not bad so far.
It's not the best run, but you know, Nax can definitely PB off this. Yeah,
exactly. Like, we were saying before, like Nax, he's got a geographical advantage right now. It's not super late at night for him. He still wants to go the distance, so I imagine he's not super drained. And like I say, this run, Sens wasn't ideal. But everything else hasn't been too horrific so far. So if I was him, I definitely wouldn't be too tilted.
Yeah. This is definitely manageable.
Yeah. And especially with him playing, like, he's been playing really consistently. Like, I mentioned when he was doing Asylum resets just before, I said, like, even in a couple of attempts, there's no doubt, like, out of my mind that he'll get out of Sens and past ONS. and it took like what 3 attempts, and now he's in Dark Route already. So like,
yeah, like
I knew it was gonna happen.
I've
Like,
been watching Nax. I've been watching Nax since he started doing this run for Break the Record and started learning for it. And his consistency at the run over like the past 2 or 3 weeks has been like really noticeable. He's become much better than he was. Like at first, like he was, like Nax is an experienced Dark Souls runner. He's been running the game for a while. He was fast when he first started out without a whole lot of practice, but not consistent, because it was still a new run to him. But his consistency level has just gone up so high recently. So
it's when you can see like someone is like a really good up and comer. They have like the mechanical skill, they have the decision making, and then all they need to do is like get enough experience underneath their belt so they know what to do if certain things go wrong. Like they start learning backups, they start learning like
that's a lot of what Dark Souls speedrunning is reacting to all the different things that can happen, knowing in advance what problems can arise, and just quickly reacting to it and going from there. That's a big part of Dark Souls speedrunning. Yeah.
And that's what makes, like, not to toot his own horn a little bit, but that's what makes Regal such a great player. And
I don't have to toot my own horn if you do it for me.
Yeah, I meant like not to toot his horn, but I was like toot my own horn. It's like toot his own horn. Yeah, whatever. I promise I'm a decent caster. Please let me stay, Regal. Please. But yeah, so as I meant to say, not to toot Regal's horn too much, but that's what makes him such a good player. It's like whenever I did this run briefly on PTT, and he helped me with so many different backups. Like Nubis helped me learn the run, but Regal made me turn into like an actual consistent player. Like before, I was just some noob following instructions.
Yeah, knowledge is a
the
big
transition
thing.
is huge. Yeah,
knowledge is a huge tool to have for Dark Souls speedrunning. It's one thing to just know how to execute with like the best RNG that you could possibly get. Because if this game had no RNG in it, it would be kind of boring. Yeah, it would be pretty easy to run.
Yeah, if all the bosses were like scripted, and you knew exactly what was going to happen. Yeah, it wouldn't be funny.
That obviously isn't the case. So a huge part of the skill set of running the game is dealing with all the different stuff that can happen. And even then, even if you're a good, experienced runner like that, you'll still die to making those mistakes, reacting poorly. It just happens. It's part of speedrunning. No one's
even the best players have died to probably every boss. Yeah, they've failed everything there is to possibly fail.
They were talking about this on the stream earlier. Like Dark Souls players get excited about new ways to reset.
Yeah, exactly.
Super true, because it's like, hey, I learned a new thing.
Yeah.
Tuck that one in my back pocket. I'll know that next time. Let's see if Nax can save any time on this segment. I'm not sure if he can. Oh, he has about a 5-second worth of time that he could save.
Yep. I was wondering what he was doing for a second, but then I remembered his dusk summoning sign here.
There's actually RNG to the summoning sign. If it's like on the shoreline, it's a little bit slower than if it was in the water.
Huh.
Because then you could actually activate the summon sign slightly earlier.
So it's actually random where it's located, you mean? Like the actual
there's like multiple different locations that the sign can be in.
That's a really bizarre thing to not just be a static place.
It's from software design, man. They just do stuff like that. Bizarre. So you'll be running towards it and you won't see the sign anywhere. A lot of new runners will be like, dusk sign isn't showing up for me, and we're like, it's in the water. it's just look around, you'll find it. So he did manage to save 2 seconds versus his PB there. He actually has a 3-second time save on this segment, which is unusual because it's a pretty consistent.
Yeah, very short, and it just involves you nuking Butterfly. Yeah. There's not really too much to do here. Like this is where the run starts to become like you get so overpowered that thankfully the bosses become a lot more consistent because you usually nuke them before they can run away.
Yeah. Well, with these magic routes, a large portion of the fights are you just blow them away, and there's not a whole lot of RNG to the fights. But then there's the small percentage of them that are terrible, which is like ONS is a good example of that, and Artorias is also a very good example of that. When those fights go poorly with magic, it's unbelievably bad. But then the rest of the bosses in the route, like you just blow them away completely, especially once you get Dark Bead.
Yeah, Darkbead being the main spell that we'll see the runners using throughout the event here. But we're going to have a quick prediction, a quick channel points prediction poll come up in the chat here. And it's going to be the main question that we're going to look for. So you're going to bet your channel points here. It's going to be fun. Will Nax PB again today? So you're going to have to put your channel points where your mouth is here. Do you believe in Nax? Will we see another PB today? Or are we going to lose it all and we're going to see more red here? Let's find out. So yeah, we're going to be gambling, a little bit of gambling here. You can see it in the chat there. Put your predictions through, get your channel points. You can use the small amounts there, 10 each, or you can have a custom amount, use your channel points. I've got 146,000 points there. What should I do? Oh, I mean, I'm a cheater. I've got data here that I can see. And
no, that is not allowed. Absolutely not. That is cheating.
Like,
I'm not going to say my prediction, not to influence, but I put everything on my prediction.
I mean, you want me to go big? I'll put my 146k on it.
146k, all
146,000 points is now on it. So if I lose this, I'm in trouble.
I feel a little left out. I feel a little left out because channel points and predictions aren't available in certain countries. So
really,
Ash and I,
that is weird.
Because of gambling laws. Even though obviously they're completely fake points, but you're not allowed to gamble.
Everybody knows channel points are worth money.
Yeah.
Well, for those of us that can, it is now live. I have put all 146,000 on my answer. If I type in chat, you'll see it. I'm not typing in chat because that's cheating. But
I think I know which one you put on just by
don't you say a word. Don't you say a word.
This is simple math.
I mean,
simple math you're talking about.
I mean, we have kind of tilted the tables here a little bit, Regal, because we've just been talking about how consistent Nax is and how likely it is for him to smash this run at some point tonight. Because of how well he's playing.
That's the thing, yeah. So. That's the thing.
But maybe we're lying. Maybe we're leading them on, and we're like, and then it'll happen. And we're like, we fooled you all. Yeah, we fooled you all.
I can. It might be a case of where yes, you have fooled me. I will be in trouble. We'll have to find out. Because remember, it's not just this run. It is for the end of the day. Yeah. So the thing is, we do only have 45 minutes left before the no reset period happens. So Nax most likely going to finish this run unless something major happens, potentially.
Is it up time to start up another one, though, after that?
Well, he does. Yeah. He'll have around, I don't know, what, maybe 10 minutes or so to try and get another run going. But after that hour mark, that's it.
Yeah, there's a good chance now that if something goes wrong to where he can't PB, he will reset. But that's purely because he wants to get that good run going into the no reset territory.
And it might take him a few attempts to just get that run going.
Exactly. Whereas if he takes this all the way to the end, he's going to be looking at maybe only having like 10 minutes of resets to get going into the final run.
Right. Exactly.
So, if I were him, I wouldn't treat this as a no reset.
Yeah, well, he's on good pace for event PB, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't treat this as a no reset right now anyway, because this is easily, PBable for the event. But if something does go catastrophically wrong, I would reset this personally.
He could get a legit personal PB with this. Yeah. This run still.
Yeah,
I mean, there's actually not a big difference between his best event run and his actual PB. Is not a big difference. It's like what 19 seconds or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, looking through the
105.17, 104.58.
Yeah, looking through that predicted time there, it's predicting a 105.12 at the moment, but with the best possible time being a 103.
Yeah.
Of course, we get any gold splits coming in here, that predicted time and that best possible time is going to be moot because we've got new gold splits coming through. And as you're saying, Nax's consistency right now is pretty dang high, so the chance for those gold splits is very, very likely.
Yeah, the predicted time should be taken with a grain of salt because all it is it's just his PB plus the amount of time he is behind.
right?
So 105.12 is
Or
14
ahead.
seconds behind. Yeah, or
Don't
ahead,
reveal
exactly.
the magic. Come on, what is
Well, I
it?
mean, it's a common
Revealing
live
the
split feature.
Revealing the magic. Oh, come
Advanced
on.
metrics, guys.
Yeah, come
Oh.
on. Come on. We were saying about doing the math earlier.
It's
You can
like-
do the math. It's not complicated. Sorry
But
to spoil
we're
the
not
fun.
supposed to. Where's the illusion here?
But the most important one that you should be looking for is the best possible time, which is assuming that he plays, really well, that he can 103 this. That's the most important.
You will almost certainly not match his best possible time, but
Yeah. I mean, of course.
hopefully if
No
things
human
go
is going to
well.
play perfectly towards goals for the rest of the run.
If he
But
plays
what we're
well, he
saying
will
is-
approximate. his best
Exactly.
possible time.
Yeah. Like this is 103able because he can lose 40 seconds and still 103. And losing 40 seconds is possible.
I think his worst segment on his PB was probably Artorias. Yeah, he has a 30-second time save at Artorias.
Yeah, he has a lot of big time saves coming up. So
since Nax is really good and has gained a lot of consistency, if he doesn't get a PB tonight, I would be surprised if he doesn't get one over the whole weekend.
Yeah.
He's just begging to PB. I've seen him do runs on his stream before the event. He had many runs that were close to PBing, but just couldn't pull through at the end for one reason or another. So I expect him to be able to pull something out at some point this weekend for sure.
Oh yeah, no, the fact that we've still got another 2 days of this as well. We are coming up towards the end of day one here. Each day the runners have 12 hours to do as many or as little runs as they want to do here. And we've seen going through out of all the runners here right now, Iron Boy has been the one that's ran the for the longest right now.
Really?
Was basically, pretty much from the start, and was consistently going through doing attempts just until up about an hour and a half ago there decided, I finished my run, we're done. But we can definitely see these runners progressing as the day goes on. These event times are definitely going to come down, especially when you get good Sith fights like that.
Yeah. And I can
Iron
see
Boy
these
finished 5 runs today, which is very impressive.
I didn't get to watch a large portion of the beginning of the event because I was at work, but it did seem like Iron Boy was doing a lot of grinding. I can see several of these runners just visually improving at the category as the weekend goes on, just because they're putting so much time into it. Gintoff, Mintius, and Iron Boy all could easily just improve as runners in this category over the course of the weekend. Just because they're putting so much time into doing the runs.
And as you say, they're getting that experience under their belt. They're learning these little nuances that you veteran runners know. How do I handle if the boss went right instead of left? What do I do if I've accidentally got stuck on the Guardian? They're learning these different strats that they're able to now add to their repertoire, giving them better times. So...
And this fight is prime example of what we were talking about earlier. I mentioned it to Arga because Guardian is one of those fights that can either go really well or really, really poorly.
I hate this boss.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most hated.
Annoying. It's not fun when it goes well or anything. You don't feel like you accomplish much when it goes well. And when it goes bad, it's just absolutely terrible.
Sometimes he just flies around and there's nothing you can do about it except just sit and dodge and wait.
At least you have good damage.
I don't want to see that flying because otherwise I'm blaming you on this one, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm not
not even flying, just spamming lightning.
Spamming lightning where you're just forced to dodge. Okay. Yeah.
He didn't get the worst opening. The worst opening you can get is where he runs up to you and does the lightning barrage. He got the single lightning shot. Oh, he cut his tail!
Nice.
Nice.
Get the what is it? You get the whip, I think, from it, right?
Yeah, the guardian tail. It shot above him and hit his tail when it was raised in the air. It was amazing. That's another one of those. I've never seen that before.
Bingo. I've got bingo. That's it.
Yeah, always happens.
Yeah. He's not quite as bad when you have high damage, but yeah, don't like that boss. This boss coming is similar to ONS, just extremely random with in magic routes. Also, like remaster magic, like the tracking on it is really bad. You'll be like point blank on an enemy and cast a soul spear, and it just misses.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that and how much of a problem it can be on Artorias. Like,
yeah, it's
especially he has a lot of attacks which involve like him moving an insane amount. Like he's a very nimble boss. Like he has one where he jumps up into the air and he can do it like several times and slam down on you. And it is impossible to hit him with magic when he's doing that because it just doesn't lock on quickly enough. And you will not hit anything.
But he can be standing completely still and you're right in his face and you shoot a soul
you'll still miss.
It's like, what is this game? I personally don't like magic routes for just memes like that.
Yeah, speaking of, so not the best start. He missed half the soul mass and the spear.
Not the worst though, but yeah. Like he's probably gonna save like 20 seconds here.
Yeah, that was overall a decent fight because he got the buff. The buff is consistent, right? It's based on health, I want to say.
There's a 5% chance he will not buff, but it happens on each specific HP threshold that he has. Okay. So like at a certain HP, there's a 95% chance he will buff. But there's that 5% chance he won't, and that can be pretty annoying.
Again, so interesting that they would put it like as a random thing. Like I always assumed it was scripted, set an event, then he starts rolling back and buffs.
But there's still like a slight chance that he won't.
That's really bizarre. But yeah, because the buff is where you can just destroy him. Like after he buffs, he takes significantly less damage. But during like the animation when you buff, you can get plenty of hits in, and with such high magic damage is when you can just nuke him most of the time. And
you usually get like some scripted amount of like damage on him during the buff because you know when he's going to stagger out of it and whatnot.
And it's good to kill him. Good to kill him. You know, after that because he goes a bit psycho after the buff. So
yeah, just he's psycho in general, honestly. So just killing Artorias. It's good. Just move on.
Yeah. Take the victory and go away.
Yeah, and just keep going.
Oh, and just like that. Just like that, dead to a dog right afterwards.
Well, that's a reset. I imagine he's going to reset.
This is what we were talking about. So a death
we'll
like
have
this.
to find out.
He's going to keep going.
No,
okay.
No,
he considered it. He considered it.
I mean,
he was like, nah.
If his event PB wasn't as like good, that would be kind of borderline death. But yeah, I feel like that. Since the run wasn't the best run leading up to it, yeah, it seems like an obvious reset.
So here's the thing, though, right? If this run gets going, it's his last run.
He got bad cell RNG.
Classic.
Yeah. But yeah, if this run gets going, it's his last run. We're down towards the last 35 minutes here, so we'll get to pretty much the exact same point there. By the time he gets to Calamite, we will know if this run is going to, well, if it's going to continue or if it's going to be reset. Obviously, we've got everything up to that point again. You've got Ornstein and Smo. You've got the well, I mean, Ornstein and Smo is the main one I've seen people die at recently here, unless we talk about those hollows again.
That's what it's all leading up to. The first 18 minutes. It's going to lead up to that. But there's a lot of stuff before that.
It's going to be a case of, does he know he's getting to that point? I'm hoping he does know that he's coming to that point and has to make that decision around the 30-minute mark to, am I green or am I red? Do I continue this run or do we go for the save there? Because as you said at the end of the Artorias fight, he saved that 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So he got that 20 seconds.
That was a bad fight too. Like
he's just gotta get the DLC. That's the main thing. But then also, as you mentioned, like once he gets the DLC, that's when the time's gonna tick over. It's like Guardian and Artorias is gonna decide, which is really bad because those fights could go so poorly.
Like not even Artorias. Like I think by the time he does Guardian, then it's going to tick over, and that's going to be it. You know, like it's going to be that moment where it's like, oh god, do I reset now or not? Because then the problem you've got is you saw like cell RNG there. Like I imagine for a lot of runners now, it's a case of I will reset for cell RNG. Imagine if he does that accidentally at the start and realizes I shouldn't have reset. Like the final run starts cell RNG.
Just kills the night just like that.
It's like, oh no. But we will see how this goes. But before we let this run continue, we'll leave it as a bit of a mystery for you all in chat here. We're going to take probably one of our last little ad breaks here. We're going to take a last 3-minute break. The question is, when we come back, will Nax be continuing this run, or will he have ran into a terrible fate? We'll find out in a couple of minutes. Go get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack. We will be right back.